Hello, my name is Andy, but most people call me Papa Bear. And my clients tell me that I am their afterlife coach. It's my mission to accompany them, and perhaps you as well, in joy and sorrow, that you may become your ever more authentic self. Welcome to Life After Life. This is my YouTube channel. And here I bear witness to the powerful stories of LGBTQ people and their allies. And together we celebrate their ability to start again after adversity, trauma, and pain. For this podcast, I'm joined by Devontae. So, Devontae, hello, and thanks for being here.
Hello.
Now, I wondered if you might set the stage for your story by telling us a little bit about your family.
So, my name is Devontae. I have a twin brother, identical twin brother, a little sister, well, a little brother and a little sister. There's four of us with my mother, and I have two other siblings that are on my father's side, which my half siblings, uh, that didn't live with us, but four of us live together. My mother's name Melissa Bankston. Uh, I love her dearly and everything.
And tell us, if you would, a little bit about what life was like in the family to begin
Uh,
with.
we didn't have a lot of money. We was middle class, poorish. Uh, we had our hard times and we had our good times. The good times outweighed the bad. But we always maintained that we was together no matter what.
And so one of the pieces in your story that comes next is your brother's coming out. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So the way we grew up was a very church-centered family. My mother's side of the family was very church oriented, which is, they had their we grew up in the South, so Georgia, there's a
Mhm.
lot of family churches, so to speak, where when you grow up, that's the church your family always goes to every Sunday, and whatnot. When we lived in so when was me and my twin brother was born, we was born in Thompson, Georgia, but my mother had to move to Griffin, Georgia because of housing situation, and rent was cheaper in Griffin, and she could be with my father. Um, Over the years, things didn't work out with my mother and father. They were on again, off again, and so she decided to move to Thomaston to be close to family. And that's when we'll always go to the family church on Sunday, along with my aunt. Um, so as you can see, gay is not really a thing in Southern Georgia. Is considered uh, negatively
Mhm.
because the way growing up black and gay, uh, the most gay representation we would see would be the feminine gays on TV,
Mhm.
the ones that are always friends with females and whatnot. I'm not gonna say carrying on, but they will be flamboyant, feminine.
Okay.
Um, so a lot of black families back then, and even now today, still have an issue with, black gay folk. Um, my brother came out, uh, I want to say the end of middle school, beginning of high school.
Mhm.
Um, at that point in time was it 2000 something? I think it was 20 2009, 2010, so to speak. So still black families don't know what to do, but black about their having a child that's gay or in the LGBT community. Um, so it was kind of hard for her to comprehend that my brother was gay because she raised us, very church oriented, Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, and whatnot. Um, so it was hard for her to get a grasp on it. When my brother came out, he likes to be in your face, so to speak. Like, I'm gay, you're gonna take it, get used to it, you know. Um, he was still trying to find himself as a gay black person because we didn't really have any role models near us. And growing where we at or where we were, it was kind of hard because we was always bullied. Um, before I didn't come out yet, so I was debating about my sexuality too. Because like I saw Trey when he talked to me about it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense because we watch the same things, so we're into the same things. Uh, I got bullied a lot along with him in high school. A lot of the bullies thought me and my brother were sleeping together. Made fun of me in regards to sleep with my butt clenched or whatnot. It was kind of hard, you know, people put out Bible scriptures, put it in my backpack secretly without me knowing.
Why?
Um,
Because you were perceived as gay.
well, they thought since Trey was gay, well, they didn't
Uh,
necessarily thought I was gay because I'm mask presenting.
okay.
Um, they just thought my brother is a little bit, we're the same but different. So we may look alike, but we handle um not handle hmm, we act different in regards to gay mannerisms and whatnot. It doesn't really
Okay.
matter. I'm just I guess I'm more mass presenting because I like football and whatnot. I like sports. Um, so my mother didn't know what to do, so she was kind of in shock. Her side of the family was very judgmental about Trey being gay. Uh, always talked about Trey behind his back. And my mother, she didn't know what to do. You know, there's no other I guess Trey was the first openly gay uh family member on my mother's side of the family that came out to be gay, like I'm gay. So we didn't my mother didn't really have a necessarily have a support system of what do I do. Um, so at the beginning she was kind of rough. She was
What did she do? What did she say?
she didn't know how to raise a gay son, and she was very something. There was at times she was mean, um, very mean. Said some hurt. She said some hurtful things, which in response caused Trey to say some hurtful things. You know, she didn't know what to do for the past couple of years because she's like, "How can my son be gay?" Which is the norm in Southern culture. Like, they didn't know, not my son. You know, can't be my son. Um, so it was hard. Um,
And meanwhile, you're watching this from the sidelines,
yes.
knowing, you're out to yourself at this point as well, and knowing that this could be you. What's running through your head?
So I've seen the way my mother treated my brother Trey in regards to him being gay and whatnot. He was, like I said, he was wham bam in your face, and she was like, "No son of mine is gonna be gay," and that blah blah blah, and this is not why I taught how I raised you and whatnot. I'm seeing all this from silence, like you said, and I was scared because I had thoughts of being. I didn't want to come out gay with him because I was like, maybe this is, you know, I'm young, hormones going on, you know what, you know. Maybe it's just I don't know. Maybe it's I'm seeing porn, not seeing porn for the first time because you know, seeing it saw it at an early age. So just exploring myself in regards to sexuality. Um, I thought maybe like, oh, it's just a phase. Maybe I'm just in the females and everything. Mind you, I never had sex with a female ever. Still haven't to this very day. Uh, I was just too scared. Like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Um, so seeing how my mother treated my brother, it was it scared me a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it caused me to withdraw, not share myself completely in regards to um sexuality and exploring. It kind of cut me off because I was afraid of how my mother would treat me. Like, would I be treated the same? You know, I don't want her to think that I'm going to, be feminine or whatnot because it's not me. I didn't have a role model to see in regards to a gay person like me because I don't see gay like when I was where I was growing up. I didn't see gay folk in sports and whatnot, or
Mhm.
they were mostly feminine. With hang out with girls, having pocketbooks and whatnot, and that was kind of deterred me from being coming out as gay because I didn't see no representation of myself. Most represent I'd never seen. My brother watched what was that show called? Noah's Ark.
Okay.
I never watched it because I didn't necessarily see a representation of myself. So I was like, I'm good, I'm good. Um, so it was kind of hard to. I was struggling on the inside about who I was sexually because I saw no representation of myself. Saw my brother getting treated differently. I was like, oh no, let me wait, let me wait. Um, so I forced myself to still date females, but I never went past sexually with them. I was too
Mhm.
afraid. I may have put my hand on the boob, but you know, I was like, oh no, this doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right. But looking
So
at dudes and whatnot, I
what
guess turning
eventually,
me on.
yeah, what eventually turned things around?
Um, Fast forward, so I was in near high school, so 2 years go by, um, and my brother is in and out of the house because he couldn't take living with my mom with him being treated that way, and my mother was so angry about him being gay. So he moved out, moved back in, moved out. Happened over a span, um, over a span of 2 years.
Mhm.
And before he decided I'm gone, I'm gone. I can't live on this roof. So he left high school. Um, my mother was really sad about that. I was really sad about that because it left me alone in the house.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't know what to do. I didn't have nobody to talk to about my what do you call it? Sexual preference.
Mhm.
So I felt alone. So went back in the shell and went through my high school years, graduated, and went to the Navy. Uh, a month after me graduate. Well, no, was it a month? No, a month and a half of me graduating. 2000. I remember the day, July 9th, 2013. I went off to boot camp. Um, Once I graduated boot camp, went to my technical training school for my job in the Navy, which I was an administrative clerk. Um, I finally realized I'm no longer living on my mom's hot roof. Um, I can finally express being myself, explore, see who is Devontae and what does Devontae like. Uh, Sexual, not sex, just in general.
Mhm.
Um, so I was on. I decided to give when Craigslist was up and running with the hookups. I
And
did
you're
it.
in the Navy at this point.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I went to my first duty station and then well, graduated from my technical school, went to my first duty station in Florida, and started putting myself out there on the Craigslist ads for when they still had classifieds up in regards to
Mhm. Yeah.
uh that's when I was 19.
Okay.
So I was no 20, yeah, 2021. Yeah, 2021, not 19. I was either 20 or 21, you know, freshly can drink beer and everything, drink liquor and everything was new, you know. And it started like, you know what, I'm give it a try. And so I had my first sexual experience with a man when I was in my 20s. Not 20s, 21. And I liked it, you know. I was like, this feels right to me. Um, but I was afraid to come out both to in while in the military and to my mother because I didn't, like I said, I didn't have any representation of masculine gay man. So I still hooked up with people, but I didn't. I kept it quiet while I was in the military and with my mother. Um, until one day I talked to one of my to my chief supervisor. She was my leading CPO, chief petty officer.
Mhm.
Uh, I was female, not male.
Mhm.
Female chief petty officer. She's PSC. I will never forget her. Uh, I'm gonna keep her name. I'm not gonna say her name because I don't want nobody to come find her on Facebook. Very nice. She was from Belize, so she's seen a lot of things. She's been in Navy for 20 plus years. Um, I talked to her like, how do I came out to her first.
Okay.
Um, of course she'll say, "Oh, I knew Daniel. I knew." I was like, "Hmm, you sure you did, Chief? You sure you did?" She's like, "You had your ways."
Mm.
So okay. So I was like, I would like to tell my mother, but I don't know how to start the conversation.
Right.
She says, uh, she asked me like, does your mother have know any other family members who are gay? Like, well, my twin brother. She's like, well, that's easy. That should soften the blow a little bit. Oh, I forgot to mention. My mother did wind up smooth things over my twin brother
Okay.
before I got in the military. Um,
What
they
was
had a
smoothing
whole
over like?
they had a cry, they cried together.
Okay.
Um, she apologized for all the things she's done. She said she didn't know any better. This is her first time having a gay son, and she's extremely sorry.
What do you think it was that allowed her to look at things differently?
I think once my brother moved out for a while, once he was gone for a while, when he moved out, dropped out of high school and whatnot, she had a moment because, like she says, we're her babies. She wants us to be happy and succeed. And she realized Trey wasn't happy.
Okay.
But she also said he didn't have to be wham bam all on her face
Mm.
with it. He could have approached it a different way. But Trey's Trey.
Right.
Uh, each person is different. Um, so he came out the best way he could. That made sense to him. So they cried. Trey apologized for, doing the most. um, they cried and then they patched things up and they got him better. Trey could tell my mother anything.
Okay.
Um, so they got him better. So fast forward
And
back to when
so knowing that, what's going on in your head at that point?
um when I came out when I told my chief, I was like was talking to her about telling my mother. she my chief reassured me that it could be okay. You never know. And I was like, and I remembered how my brother and my mother's relationship gotten better. I was like, maybe it's not that bad. So I called my mother while I was at sea because we was doing like some kind of training exercise in the middle of the ocean. So you can call people out at sea sometimes. Um, Depends on if the satellites are working correctly. So I called my mama, um, and told her it came out to her. I was hoping the phone would drop out, but it didn't. It
Okay.
didn't. So she found out she said I'll love you no matter what. Everything. And she's like, you sure you're gay? She was not a phase. You know, I like a regular gay person. You like all these sports and whatnot. I'm like, I can still be gay and like sports. There's no way that says I can't like sports.
Right.
Um, so
I
the
love
only
you.
and it
I love you no matter what.
yes,
What's it like to hear that?
it made me feel accepted.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm safe. Because she did all those things to Trey, and I was afraid that was gonna happen to me. But after having Trey come out to her and she's dealing with it, learning how to cope with it, she was a little bit more receptive about me coming out gay and everything. Of course, she asked if it was a phase. I told her no. So you sure? Because you act too masculine to be gay. I'm like, I think it's fine. I'm me. And that time, that's when I started researching. I was researching more important to find about the leather, Tom and everything. So it gave me hope, to see an example of masculine and gay.
Something that you could identify with.
Yes, yes. So it gave me hope and things, and that my bond with my mother strengthened a little bit.
So, phew, big sigh of relief. And now take us a little bit forward in time. Um, how did you find out about your mother's illness?
So I found my mother was diagnosed with a heart disease. I forgot the exact name for the heart disease, but it causes fluid around her heart to build. So any extreme if she got excited way too high or really upset, it would increase the fluid around her heart. So she had to take water pills
Mhm.
to alleviate uh, the water or increased blood. I don't. I think it's water. Um, to decrease the blood, decrease it. So she constantly had to go to the bathroom. I found out that she had the heart disease in high school.
Okay.
Um, it was disheartening to know. Well, not disheartening, just upsetting to know. Um, it meant that the way my mother was, she couldn't do most things anymore in regards to couldn't really work because she can't stand on her feet for long hours. She can't deal with stress at work because fluid around the heart. Um, so she had to go on disability. Um, it made a lot of things harder because she couldn't do most things with us in
Right.
regards to be active with us and whatnot. Um, can't really go out much because we low on money because we're getting disability. There's only so much of disability money you can get, and it only covered about the rent, and that was about it, and some utilities and whatnot. So it was limited to what we could do. That including being on food stamps, you know, and food stamps, they only give you a certain amount of money with 5 mouths to feed. That was a lot. Um, so it caused me to think about if I had the same heart disease. Uh, so as soon as I got in the military, I asked them, could they run tests on my heart? Luckily, I don't have the heart disease, but I stay active, so it doesn't happen. It was a lot. So with low money, in high school I wrestled. So there was times where I wanted my mother to come to our home matches, but she couldn't. You know, the only time she came to my home match was during my senior year, my last home match, which meant the world to me. She got to see what I could do and everything. Of course, I showed off a bit. So what person does not show off for their mother?
Mhm.
Um, so it was a lot, a lot of adjustment, a lot of she had to adjust to. Um, she, of course, her when she had the heart when she got diagnosed with the heart disease. The doctors tell you can only eat this, this, and this. You got to stay active and whatnot. My mother couldn't eat what the doctors wanted her to eat because it didn't taste good to her.
Okay.
So, um, but she found ways to try to stay on track, but sometimes it was hard, you know. So it was a battle and then whatnot. Um, it got to the point where what else? She also had back surgery. Near the end before before she passed. She and then she also had COVID. She had COVID before COVID was even announced to the world.
Okay.
And doctors didn't know what was wrong with her until like, oh yeah, COVID-19. And like the doctors when they finally figured it out, announced it publicly. Oh yeah, you had COVID-19. I'm like, oh wow. So it was a lot. I wish my mother didn't have the heart disease, but it's hereditary, you know.
And so what happened after COVID?
Um, After COVID, she had to have surgery on her back because her spine thing where she had a disc problem. I don't think it's either near her neck or near her more of her middle of her back.
Mhm.
Um, she had surgery. She got COVID while she was sick from the after the surgery. So she had to be hooked up to oxygen tank and whatnot. Um, One morning, I got a phone call in April 3rd, 2021, that my mother passed away. Not the favorite thing I would like to hear. It was right before Mother's Day. I was 29. Yeah, I was 29 because no, no, yeah, 29 because this year I'm 30. Um, no, I was 28, about to turn 29. Um, and
And did you know at that point that anything that she was suffering from was potentially fatal?
I knew the heart situation was fatal, but she took water pills to take care of that. But the surgery, um, compounding with COVID-19, she had got COVID-19 plenty of other times. Well, two other times beforehand, and she was fine. But I guess this time it was really kicking her. So it was a little bit tougher to fight after surgery. Um, um, so she had shorter breath because one of the symptoms of COVID-19 was shorter breath and you can't really
Mhm.
breathe and whatnot. Um, she just couldn't. She was on. She. I don't want to really describe how she passed away. I just because more. It just um she just couldn't breathe. So
Okay. And so what I think I was trying to get at is how much of a surprise was it when you got that phone call?
um it was a shock because this the day before um I was talking to her. It was on the day before or 2 days before that. I was just talking to her and whatnot. And I was getting ready to go. It was when I was living in California,
Mhm.
and I had got the phone call right before I went to work. Um, I hopped on the next flight back home, and was there with my family and whatnot. So
So what I'm hearing is, hey, it's not like anyone ever sat us down and said, your mother's condition is terminal.
no, we never heard of that. We just heard that she had a certain. Well, I heard. My sister was taking care. After the surgery, she had surgery. My sister was taking care of her and whatnot, and she didn't hear about anything being fatal. They just said make sure she's taking medication. She has an oxygen tank. She's using her neck brace that she supposed to have because she had surgery, so she can't like be all like moving and grooving like she didn't have surgery. So she got to be extra careful.
Okay.
We didn't know that she'd be taken off just like that. So it was a shock to everybody. You know.
I've had a long conversation with a friend of mine whose husband passed away from cancer, and so they knew it was coming. And we've compared notes, he and I, because of course my partner passed away very suddenly, and we have this internal debate as to which is difficult, more difficult to deal with, it coming suddenly and unexpectedly, or coming after a long illness. And it sounds like you kind of had the worst of both worlds.
Yeah, because beforehand she would always talk about her passing away. She said, y'all gonna miss me when I'm gone. Well, the same thing mothers would say all the
Mm.
time. And I didn't think nothing. I'd be like, you're not going nowhere. Um, which I was sadly mistaken. My mother was not only my mother, she was one of my best friends because there was there may have been a 20-year difference between us, but my mother raised us the best way she could. And she raised, not only was she our mother, she was our friend. And to me, she was a queen of my heart.
Absolutely.
Um, I held that woman on a pedestal.
Okay.
She was my, she was my center, my rock, and everything. And because no matter what, we had each other. We was always together. Um, so seeing her just leave this world all suddenly, it really hurt me a lot. Um, I didn't really cry much when I was with my family when she passed. Uh, I felt really numb. Like, is this really happening? Uh, it's got to be a dream or whatnot, but it was real. Um,
Tell me, my friend, how would you describe grief? What was it like for you?
um, I just wanted to be left alone. Um,
What did being left alone bring?
I mean, loneliness, but it helped me process her being gone. Um, I knew I wouldn't be able to get those silly phone calls of her calling me late at night. Um, I want to be able to ask her for advice. I want to be able to hear her gossip about family members. Um, um, I just felt like anybody who talked to me wouldn't know what I was going through because majority of my friends, well, a good bit of them, they still have their mothers around,
Right.
or they probably don't have good relations with their bio mother, so they wouldn't know how I felt at that moment about losing my mother.
And I think that that's one of the things about grief. We're not really educated about it. Unlike, say, when somebody gets married or somebody has a child, we don't know what to do. We don't know the rituals. We don't know what people need from us. And so we do have a tendency to sweep it under the carpet and to not want to talk about it or to quiet that conversation as quickly as possible. And I also think that um, really the only people that tend to be there for us are people who have been through it themselves, who understand. As I say these things, how do they land with you? What was your experience?
Um, I know I wasn't definitely prepared for it. Nobody ever prepares for their mom passing, so it was a shock. It was a lot. You know, I'm still dealing with. I'm still dealing with today. It's been 2 years, but it doesn't hurt as much as it did the first day.
Right.
I learned to manage, to handle the grief, so to speak.
What does managing mean for you?
Um, Remembering the good times. I also have a small little urn of my mother's. We cremated her,
Mhm.
so we have her big urn, which sits back at home in Georgia.
Mhm.
I currently live in Jersey right now, so I have a smaller urn of her ashes with me, so I can take them everywhere I go. Um, I have my aunt to still contact because she has a sister. So talking to my aunt is like talking, kind of sort of talking like with my mom, but somewhat. Well, she's not as silly as my mom, but she gets it. My auntie, she had a podcast that she did with my mother.
Okay.
I forgot what it was, Jenny T, or I forgot what it was called, but I have it downloaded to my phone so I can hear my mother's voice.
Yeah.
I have little videos of her talking with my niece and everyone whatnot. Have I go through look at her pictures. Um,
Tell me a
I
story about a good time.
um Her telling me every time we'll take pictures. We'll take 1,000 pictures, um, and whatnot. And in those pictures, I wouldn't really smile,
Mhm.
but she would tell me, "Tay, you have a beautiful smile. You should show it off more. You have your mother's smile." So every time I smile, I think of that. Mm.
Can I
She's
say
the reason why I
something?
started smiling more.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I've never seen a photo of you in which you did not have a big old smile that just lit up the room.
Yeah. If she was here to say it, she would say that's the Bankston smile.
It's because of her.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So every time I take a picture, I think of her and I smile a little bit more because she is right. I have a beautiful smile. I should show it off a little bit more instead of looking doom and gloom.
What do you think you learned from the process of grief?
Cherish the time you have with your loved ones because you never know when it will be the last. Um, if you see your family member struggling with, you know, adhering to doctor's orders, try to help them best way you can. Be a supportive, but don't like hound them, but just remind them gently. I wish, uh, well, I tried, but I tried to help my mother, but it all boils down to the person. But I still love my mother no matter what. Um, but I think cherishing the time you have with your loved ones is the most important one because you never know when they're going to leave
That's right.
you know.
And if I were to ask you now that we've had this whole conversation, you've taken us all on this journey, if I ask you to step back a bit and say, in what way has this whole journey changed you?
Um, it changed me in regards to so my mother. She may have had her times when she wasn't so great of a mom, but her good times outweigh her bad. But she made sure um she wore her heart on her sleeve. She showed compassion and empathy to everybody. Um, she loved everybody. She worked at Walmart and she worked at Circle K. Her customer service, there will never ever be an Melissa Bankston
Mm-hmm.
that showed a customer service of the utmost 5-star quality. So every day I walk through life being the nicest and caring person I could be. Because that's how Melissa Bankston was. She put others over herself. Sometimes it can be a bad thing, but I learned to not have people stuff over me, but still show compassion and empathy.
Right.
Um,
And can I make an observation?
yes.
Yeah. For those people listening, you and I are friends. And I have to say that you are one of the most compassionate people that I've ever met. And so I think you have taken a chapter from your mother's book very successfully. And as
Oh,
I say
thank you.
that, yeah.
Thank you.
And if I were to ask you to think about the people listening to us today who they either might be going through something similar to your story or they will. Everybody, every single one of us is going to have your experience at some time or another. What would you tell them?
So the instance with my brother and my mother's relationship, it was rocky when he first came out as being gay, but she learned to apologize and admit when she was wrong. And things got better between them exponentially, well, greatly. And my brother Trey could tell her everything. I would say, um, if you can hold a little bit of hope with your bio parents in regards to them accepting you as you, I would say keep that door open just a tiny bit. Now, if you're done with them, you're done with them. I completely understand, but give your bio family time to accept you. Now, if they choose to cut you off and everything, we'll understand, but you just shut them out of your life completely. But I would say give your bio parents a little bit of hope, and maybe they'll turn around and be your greatest cheerleader. So I would say just keep keep the door open just ajar a little bit for your family because you never know when they may change their mind about things and love you for who you are and cherish the time you have with your loved ones.
And maybe one last piece of advice. somebody who's just lost their mother, their best friend, what would you tell them?
Remember the good times. It's okay to cry. It's okay to look back at pictures, videos, and whatnot. Find a friend or two that you can lean on and cry with them, even if you just want them to listen. I'm lucky to have you. You helped me in regards to remember the good times with my mother, and I have my partner CJ to be thankful in regards to being listening ear for my missing my mother or missing a person altogether. So I'll say have a friend you can call up, even if just listen to you. Just talk about your family members and whatnot. It's okay to go through those feelings. It's okay to be emotional. In the Black community, it's not necessarily a good thing to show off emotions because it shows that we're weak. But it's okay to feel. There's nothing wrong to feel, especially as a Black gay man. It's nothing wrong with you shedding a tear or not feeling okay. Just feel emotions. Don't just bottle it up.
I hear you. Devontae, is there anything else that you'd like to say in order to feel satisfied with our conversation today?
No, this has been very therapeutic of talking about my mother. My mother was my biggest cheerleader, support system, my rock. And seeing her change lets me know that not only not well, the Black gay community can, well, Black community in general can heal and learn to accept each other regardless of sexual preference or what we like and whatnot. Even family members. So I would like to see the Black community listen to this and see that we can change accept one another for who we are, especially parents, because you never know.
People often talk to us about intersectionality, how the combination of being both gay and Black makes the experience doubly difficult. Yeah. But what I hear you saying is, hey, don't give up hope. Because my mother was an example of somebody who, when given the space, was able to turn things around.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Devontae, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing with us today. It's a really powerful story. And every time I post a video, I get people writing back to me, sometimes publicly, sometimes privately, saying, thank you for this. You know, your guest was telling a story that's a lot like mine, and it really helped me to hear his story. And so I want to thank you on their behalf for being here and for sharing with us today.
Well, thank you.
And to those of us, or those of you actually that are watching us and listening to this conversation, thanks for your time today. Leave us a comment in the comments and let us know what you thought of the conversation. And until next time, thanks for tuning in to Life After Life.